Hi, I'm Jazz and I'm an alcoholic and I'm codependent. I work a 12-step program and I seek health. I am a seeker and a traveler in my journey. Before I was aware of service and giving, I had it all backwards. I was giving in the wrong places. I was needing things from the wrong places. I was getting my love from the wrong places. And I wasn't as active in service work as I am today. And when I started to become more active with my service work, I find that is kind of where my journey started on giving to myself. And because I had, kids and lots of work to do and the house and all these things, I had a really hard time giving to myself because my belief system was, once I get everybody else okay, then I'll give to myself and then I'll be okay. But then that time never came. I got into service work when I got into the Coda rooms a lot more. And because I started coming to these meetings and I was like, I really like these. I really enjoy these. Like, this seems to be really where I'm getting, my soul nourished. And so I had a hard time making boundaries. I had a hard time getting to the things that I needed. So the key holder position came up and I was like, this is how I'm going to get to my meetings. And so I did that. And then I got into service work that way. And so this is like my third year of recovery. But for my journey though, I believe that service work starts for me even just by coming to a room, coming to fill a seat, just getting there was all I could do for many years. Like, just to get the time, just to even go for a little bit, sign on. That was all I was able to do at the time. And, now just from having that small commitment and staying consistent and coming, it's that strength has grown, and it's a deep habit now. And I look forward to these times that I have to get involved with my service work. But I find that my service work helps me. So it's helping other people and it's helping me. I learned to start practicing healthy giving in the rooms. I had everything backwards. And I learned how to help in a healthy way. Can I do this? Can I afford it? Am I able? And I used to just commit to everything and say yes to everything, and at the expense of myself all the time, and then get mad at everything and everyone because I gave too much. So it was very irresponsible of me to give everything that I had and then get mad at everyone else that I had given it all away. Nobody noticed and nobody cared. But that was my thing to give away. I used to even give with an expectation and, needing something from that person, needing them to notice, needing them to like it, needing them to say thank you. And I really love that I am not attached to that kind of need anymore. For myself, I just say, I wanted to give that. I was able to give that. And if nobody notices and nobody cares, I don't care, because I wanted to give that. And that means that I'm still safe because I'm not needing something from over there. I'm just giving something away, and literally there are no strings attached. There's just, it's already severed. Like there wasn't an attachment to be made, like it wasn't made. So there's nothing that can pull me and hurt me by doing that. So I just get to give, and it just floats to the other side or to wherever I gave it. And then I'm just still in my own section and still okay. But every time I used to give, I needed that love back. I needed that, I needed fulfillment back from you because I gave to you. So I've gotten in a place where I've learned healthy giving, and with my service work, that's really helped me learn how to give to myself. And I never gave to myself. And one of the ways that I started to really give to myself was getting into service work more in the rooms, and that making that time and that commitment to give to my soul, to give to my emotional healing and my traumas and my pain. I really started to make that a priority in my life, a deeper priority. And when I had that time and space, it became sacred. It became something I didn't give up. It became something I protected, and it taught me so much. So what, I thought when I first was going to start, taking on this key holding position, I kind of thought about, well, how's it going to look for the next few years? And how's it going to look when the kids get sick? And I started worrying and freaking out about all the ways that it wasn't going to work out. So how am I going to do it if it doesn't work out? And so when I first started, I just said, I'm going to do everything that I can and in my power to go to one meeting. And I'm going to set up a plan A, plan B, plan C, and I'm going to do everything that I can just to get one meeting in, just to see if I can make it, because I was on Zoom a lot before, and I was all tied up on the weekends, and nights were really bad because like kids and little ones, it's so hard to, I don't really have evenings available. So it's really hard to get to, the functions and the dances and all those things, because the little kids are going to bed at 6, 7 o'clock at night. And so I missed out on a lot of fun in those early years. And that's okay, because that was my reality, and I'm living in my reality. So, but I still needed recovery. So I had a really hard time trying to get to this one meeting because it was in the evening. And I felt I was still in a position where I felt I had to ask for permission to have time off. I had to ask permission to go do this thing for me. I had to set everything up. Like, I was still a bit in that I wasn't just not a very good advocate for myself at the time. And so I was just learning to advocate for myself even more, learning how to, how do I take care of me first instead of everybody else first? So this was one of those acts of learning how to take care of myself first, because it still means that everybody else still gets taken care of. It's just now we're all getting taken care of. So I worked towards trying to get this meeting, and instead of figuring out how am I going to get to this meeting for the rest of my life, I just figured out, how do I just get to this one meeting, this one thing right now? And I do that with lots of things. Like, how do I just do, if there was no other choice and no other option, how do I just do this one thing? What would it take? And then I brainstorm on all the ways and all the things that it would take to get to that thing, get that thing I need, get that thing met. And what does that look like? And then what are all the things that might impact that or might come up, and all the scenarios, because I know my life. So what could go wrong? So I'm kind of, putting all of these ingredients together and figuring out, like, how's this all going to fall and play out. And I worked on, getting to that one meeting. And then I got to one. And so I just took that same situation that I made to get myself to that meeting, and still working through my fear, because I kind of just I was bargaining. I was like, well, I just need to go to this one meeting, and I was still, in a negotiation with trying to get this time for myself with other people that were around. And even with myself, I was still negotiating with myself to I'll just try one. I'm just going to see, and then telling the other person the same thing. So I didn't feel like I even had a right yet to have that time. That hadn't developed yet. Like, my advocacy for myself is the seed is being planted. And so I'm planting this seed. I see the goal. I'm looking at all the ways that I can make this work and what are all the things that are going to get in the way. And then I start walking towards that. I start imagining that I'm going to get there for that meeting and what's it going to take and set it all up. And so I get there, and you know what happened is it took a few times for that not to work out, but I just kept trying. I just kept trying. Well, then this means I have to do this for this. And then I kept changing the plan to figure out still how to get there, how to do that thing that I needed to do. And, I still was taking things personally. It still upset me, but I would work through the disappointment and would still work through my fears, but still get my body there. Still push myself to physically being there or doing that thing that I wanted to do. Even though my head was doing and saying different things, I just kept taking that plan that I did the first time and then refined it to get there the second time. And then I just kept doing that. And, it became, over time, I developed, I have a right to be here. I have a right to do this and want this. And this helps me. So this is very important to me. So I need to do the things that are important to me. So that service work, when I first took the key, was, in a way, it was like a physical boundary to get me to go to do the thing that I needed to do. I knew I had struggles with getting to certain things at night. And I thought, well, if I do this, it'll really get me there. It's really going to put the pressure on. It's really going to help me get that commitment in and make it a priority, because I didn't know how to make it a priority just all on my lonesome. I had to sort of add something else that would make it more serious, that I could rely on to get me to go to that thing that I needed to do. So once I got that in place, it really helped me with maneuvers to get other important things met in my life. And I had this belief that, I don't know how long it's going to go. I don't know if it will work out, and my life has only gotten busier since then, but somehow I still always make that commitment. It's just so much easier now because I've become a stronger advocate, and I look forward to that time. And because, I've made a new rut in the road, a good, healthy rut where I'm just like, I know to go and follow that line now, and I have the passage to get there. So I just got to walk that passage, that new passage that I've already created and met. And my attitude is, I'm just going to keep going. I'll just keep trying. And I just keep pushing towards that. And I stay connected with my higher power, and I ask, and sometimes I have to practice, accepting that sometimes it's not going to work out, and I got to find other ways. But even if it doesn't work out for a few times, I go back and I check. And when I'm coming back, I only ever let it be okay to not go this one time. I don't say, I'm just never going to come back. I'm never going to go. This is never going to work out. I just say, I'm just not coming back. I'm not able to make it this time. So I don't completely change my mind and let myself right off the hook. I just let myself off a little bit of the hook, and then I get back on because I'm committed and it's healthy for me, and I want good health. Because when I'm in a good, healthy mode, everything else works better. And I've worked in unhealthy modes for a really long time, and so I know that old pain and what that feels like, and I'm just moving away from that every week, every day. And even when I'm around that unhealthiness, it's just so much now, since I'm not around it often, it's so much easier to stay away from it, to see what's happening, to just get myself to safety, whether that's emotionally, physically, mentally. I'm quick to respond to my own needs now, instead of reacting in anger and fear and shame because I didn't like something that happened, I let that part go. Now what do I do? The serenity prayer comes up for me often. So the more, and when I was, I got this key position, it helped me get to that commitment a lot easier. And so it gave me some strength. And other things, I don't know where the energy comes from sometimes, because I do more service work than just the key bearing thing. And I don't overdo it, but it just seems like because I have this, this extra energy, I am just able to do more because I like doing more. Like I like, adding, I'll add something to the room or give somebody a ride. Like because I have energy, probably from my higher power, and because I'm, more effective with my energy, there's just more of a flow to give, and that flow to give is generating more energy inside of me, and then I'm just now I'm just able to give more. So I don't even, it just is very continuous, and it doesn't feel like it all comes from me. Like I'm connected to my environment and people in my higher power. So there's just a circulation of energy happening all the time. It doesn't all just come from me where I'm drained all the time because it's the me show. It's the everyone show. Like I'm in with everyone and everything in a healthy way. Healthy mind, healthy heart, healthy vibes. Like living this way you can never convince me to go back. I know and see too much now and feel all the fruits and gifts of learning and working this program this way. So I was for a time, I was able to just fill a seat, like bare minimum. I was trying to work, take care of the kids, and trying to get my recovery, trying not to drink, and, learning how to fix my life. And then, and then I got into this key holding position, but, I used it to get myself there, and it's helped me stay there. And there's oftentimes I'm trying to, give it up, and then I'm like, oh, I don't have to give it up yet. I desire to be involved. I desire to help. I desire to help in a giving way. And, I didn't have that kind of push or drive before. It really developed over time by just continuing in the rooms, and all of the worries that I had about, well, how can I do this? And how, like, all that overthinking kept me away from a lot of stuff. It kept me from giving. It kept me from being open-minded to what I could do, because I would overthink myself out of something. Well, I can't because of this. And I had to just start, I'm just going to try. I'm just going to try. Like, what's it going to take to do whatever I can to get to that thing this one time? I just need to figure out how to do it this one time. And in that moment, I figure out the plan. I figure out the plan of action, and then I attempt it, and I attempt it, and I come back and I attempt some more. And I'm staying, conscious with my higher power, because, and learning to listen to that, like that back and forth between me and him, and up in there and around, like, I'm listening, but I'm often, since I've been listening, I hear that little voice inside a lot better now. And I know when to continue and when to kind of pull back a little. And, whether I'm just supposed to have a rest day or a rest night, like that's part of recovery too, is just, really listening and learning how to take care of myself and putting those needs do matter. Those needs do matter. So it's hard to, I've had trouble myself with, I'm not going to, I'm too tired. And sometimes it's harder for me to just not do something because I'm too tired. Like I can just keep going until I'm run ragged. So it's really hard for me to respect myself in that sense that I am too tired to go to this tonight and I cannot go. So what can I do? Can I just drop it off? Can I get someone to come pick it up? Like I feel guilty. I feel sadness that I'm not going to get to that meeting. But sometimes I have to honor myself in the moments of just like, let it go by. Like, let it go by and everything will be okay. I don't need to hang on to this tonight. I don't need to hang on to this tomorrow. Maybe I am supposed to let go of this right now. Oftentimes I'm hanging on and I need to figure out, do I need to let go of this tonight? Do I need to let go of this, for right now, come back to this another day? Maybe I can't work out right now. Maybe I don't have time for a phone call right now. Like sometimes it's also just letting go of the thing that I always do to just rest or take a breath or have some alone time. So, but I get back to it. So, but I've learned some discernment of those times when I do just have to stop. Like I'm allowed to stop. I don't have to have a perfect score of meetings, a perfect score of service work. I don't need to do all the service work. I just need to do what I can do right now. What can I do? It's not what everybody else is doing. Maybe that other person is doing 5 service things and that's fine. Maybe they're available to do that. But what's my availability? Can I do that? Do I have enough time, enough strength, enough rest in my life? I have to balance out what are all the other things that I'm doing. I want to keep the ship balanced from doing the extremes because once I get in that extreme, things tip, rebellion happens, things blow up, like it usually doesn't end well. So I'm really trying to keep the ship upright, and by listening and balancing things with my higher power and using that serenity prayer, but having that drive to did I do everything I could to get to that thing? Because I think I really need this. And then listening to that voice inside that says that I really need this. Okay, I'm going to respect myself. I'm going to listen to myself. I'm going to make space for that thing that I need. I'm going to show up for that thing, whatever it is, big or small, because I said it in my own head. And that is a tricky place for me to really let things get out of control. So I really try to adhere to those inner boundaries, those internal boundaries. The things that no one sees is a weak spot for me to sort of start making excuses and to start going down a negative spiral. I've gotten so much freedom out of service work, and if anything, the more that I give healthy, the more energy that I get. I get uplifted from it. It's not a drain. It's almost like more power. So it's hard to even think about less that I could do with service work. Often my mind actually tips over more to what else could I do? What else could I do now? What else am I available for? How am I going to give more and give more of myself? Like, even I find service work is, can I give of myself today the best that I can? How much love did I give? Like, I'm getting opportunities all the time to give in a loving way or not. And I can choose my next transaction can be the next best, good, right thing for me. And I get to choose, do I show up as a good person here? Do I show up as a selfless person? Or am I going to be selfish? Or am I going to be negative? Or am I going to be mean? Like, my service work is a living, breathing thing that I'm in all the time. And so I find by living my amend, by living with giving, by living in service, I am a servant. I am in servant mode. So I'm always trying to do the best that I can and show up the best that I can for myself and for my family. It's not just I just do the best that I can to show up for everybody else. I choose and have learned to also show up for me too. I'm not supposed to just run myself into the ground and not say anything and then hope that everything that I gave comes back to me one day. I have learned to give to myself, and that in turn helps me to give. So, and I would not really give to myself. I would just expect that everything I did give would come back. So healthy giving is freeing. I have some boundaries around it now. I didn't have any boundaries before. I had too many expectations, and expectations is unrealistic, and it hasn't even happened. So I'm living in a fake space, and with boundaries and consciousness and sticking up for myself, that's a reality. That's real. That's something concrete. So the more that I give, I find to myself, and I fill that cup, and I listen, and it is the more I can give out, and it doesn't come at expense of myself. It just, for some reason, it's just still flowing. It's still overflowing. So now I have some faith and trust that it's not really coming from me. It's just coming from somewhere else. And it's just continuing on flowing. So when I was giving to everybody else and doing this backwards, I was actually giving a lot less than what I'm able to give now. So I'm thinking that I'm giving so much, but when I started to give to myself, my capacity for giving was huge and grew. It still grows. So now there's more giving that's actually having, and I enjoy it. Like it's way funner to be able to be happy because I have a full cup, and then to be able to give more. So I did not learn about service work as much until about the third year, and I know a lot more about it now, which I'm so grateful for. And sometimes they say, work the steps or the steps will work you. And this was one of those things for me where I wasn't as active with the service work, and I felt guilty for a long time, but the service work worked me. I started to get into the service work, and then I just found like how great it was. And I put my shame and my guilt aside because I was thinking, oh, I can't give like those people. But we don't have the same life. We just don't have the same schedule. And so I've detached my worth from that, comparing to that other person that does a lot of different kinds of service work than I do. I keep it with myself. I just do the service work that I can do and compare myself to what I could do last week. And then what can I change from this week to next week that can make it a little bit better? Like really staying in the middle of the boat so I'm not tipping from here to there, because then anything can tip me off. So I'm really grateful that I've found a space to give in a healthy way, and service work really, really helped me get there. So thanks, guys.